Gamers, gals, and my non-binary pals. Today, I come to everyone with the sweetest of dramas, the most delectable drama of all time, and that is hating on Konami. All my homies love to hate corporations. It's in my blood. It's in my DNA. It's in my eyes. It's in my soul. And today, I want to talk about what I like to call the Tenpai problem. And it's how one deck nearly ruined an entire Duelist Cup. We have this in a couple of sections. So what is the Duelist Cup? What is Tenpai? The Twitter incident, deconstructing it all, and a little bit of closing thoughts about it all. For those of you who may not be totally aware, what is the Duelist Cup specifically? So the Duelist Cup is two parts. It is a ladder style climb where you have to hit level 1 to 20 by maintaining a positive win rate, and an elo system climb where you have a set elo / MMR or whatever, and you just have to climb as high as possible. It's very similar to like Hearthstone's like star leveling system and legend system, where you have to like grind through like ranks 50 to rank 1, and then once you hit like complete rank 1, you hit legend. And then it's just you keep playing until you're like number 1 legend type deal. Now, stage 1 is completely fine. It's about like 1 or 2 weeks long. People are able to just kind of like go at their own pace, and that there's a long period of time between stage 1 and stage 2. However, stage 2 is a 3-day event. It only takes place between specific 72-hour period, and essentially the top 1 to 2, maybe 3 duelists get their invitations to Worlds. By the way, this is non-stop. So if you have to, I don't know, let's say go do Christmas plans or go to work or have a life, like, sorry buddy, should have been playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you fucking freak. So, on paper, it's not the worst idea to test out players' skill, because again, only the really super dedicated players are going to be able to do this. And again, you do have to maintain like a very, very positive win rate throughout it all. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to succeed. You know what I mean? Because most Duelist Cups, you need about like 65 to 75,000 points to even qualify for the Worlds invite. And getting that high of a win rate, basically you need to have like a plus 75 to plus 80 win rate. So if you play like 100 games, you need to have like 20 losses, 80 wins type shit, like at worst. Ryan Yu actually on Heart of the Cast, which is Farfa's podcast, said it's actually a pretty decent system, and he feels like it's for the most part generally kind of skill based. But again, that's only on paper. In reality, unfortunately, it kind of incentivizes unhealthy behaviors in its players, because again, stage 2 is only between X and Y period of time, and that is all the time you're ever gonna get. It's not like you're able to just like kind of log in, get a couple of games, and then like kind of leave type deal. It's not like based on win rate. It's not based on like XYZ. It's literally just fucking lock the fucking time of game. Schmid actually said that for one of the Duelist Cups, I think it might have been the last one or like the last one, he slept for 8 hours. You know, total in a 72-hour period, huh? There was also a bunch of accusations of players being like so dedicated to like the grind that there was alleged accusations and alleged accounts of people sharing accounts, which is against TOS. Like theoretically, people were just like passing around an account in order to like grind while other people were asleep, which is bad, and you should not do that under any circumstances. No, that's bad. It's against TOS. And again, this is all like hypothetical. Konami, please don't extend my ban. I'm so close to getting a ban, please. Again, it's just like a very outdated, messy system that's like, it's basically the League of Legends ladder system. Like, sure, you can do it. It's not a bad system, but no one would say League of Legends' ladder system is, you know, healthy or, you know, well designed, you know what I mean? So that brings us to what even is Tenpai. Tenpai is a blind second OTK deck that is able to OTK extremely easily due to its monsters being able to synchro ladder in the battle phase. The monsters basically are just a bunch of low-level guys that can punch, you synchro, revive a guys, punch, synchro, revive some guys, punch. It's very, very simple to just put out absurd amounts of damage with this deck. Additionally, they have lots of effects that insulate them from negation. Think of stuff like how Chandra triggers in the damage step, so you can't like Ash Blossom it. Transcendragion protects your monsters in the battle phase from just any card effect. Saying and Summoning makes your monsters unaffected by activated effects. And you can also play large amounts of hand traps and board breakers just because the engine is that small. Like the main deck engine is like 10 cards, maybe 12 outside of like some random consistency cards. Think of like Dora Drago or like the pots. So you're able to put like Ash, Maxi, Veiler, Imperm, Nibiru, and as well like board breakers like Darkhold, Raigeki, Forbidden Droplet, Red Reboot, Heavy Storm, Lightning Storm, Call by the like just so much dumb shit that ultimately you get this very cheesy deck that is able to scam games. Now, there was a little Twitter incident that came up the other day in the middle of the Duelist Cup where a good amount of players said that they low-key kind of liked Tenpai. Let's actually read the tweet specifically. Tenpai did way more for this game than people want to admit. Reality, it's the first true blind second deck we've had in 15 years, offered up a style of dueling we had asked for 10 years, which is hand traps and equalizers and no floodgates with a strong engine. It's extremely budget and an expensive format. It lasted less than 1 year before it being unplayably banned. By the way, it's still playable. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's also friendly for people who are new or returning, and it's also very fun to use. And some people feel like they should be ashamed of using it or enjoying it because the ceiling is lower. So when you look at those factors of it's a blind second deck, it doesn't play floodgates, it's cheap, it's easy to play, it should be theoretically a very well-loved deck that allows people to experiment with new styles of gameplay in their game, right? Well, let's just say a lot of people did not feel the same. In fact, the biggest one was the Schmiderson, who usually almost every single Duelist Cup season qualifies. He'll usually have just like a massive turbo grind, but this year in particular, he was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out. Suck my peanut. I hate this. Tenpai was just too much. Wake me up when that deck is gone. And I'm like, oh my god, what broke this, man? Everyone was happier in tier format. Changed my mind. I wasn't happier, so I'm the only person who matters. So, let's talk about the Tenpai problem. Let's break down these individual factors that people kind of brought up. And first is that it's the first true OTK blind second deck. There have been like a billion blind second decks that have existed. Think of like blind second Orcus, where you put like triple instant fusion and Vashada and all that stuff in order to break your opponent's board and then just set up your own Orcus play. You had Striker, which currently is also just a very powerful blind second deck. You play a lot of breakers, you could play just a lot of good cards, that sort of deal. Grand Maju is a bit of an older one in like during like early or like mid toss format. Like Danger Grand Maju was actually like really good. Fun fact, I got one of my first regional like NAWCQ invites with Grand Maju. I love that deck. That deck was so stupid and bad, but it was like really funny. I also played 47 cards in the main deck, which is sociopathic, but whatever. There's also Dinosaur, like during Adamancipator format. Like Dinosaur just like did not give a single shit about what Adamancipator was doing, because if a single miscellaneous Saurus got through, they just like summoned UCT and they ran over everything. It was amazing. And lots of decks in certain formats like Tenyi Sword Soul format or Kashira format also just generally preferred going second. Think of how like the Sword Soul board kind of just lost to a single Vashada, or think of how like the Cashier board lost to a single like Book of Eclipse or Evenly, and like you would just like do that to your opponent and then just summon your own guys and just go fucking bananas. It was broken. Secondly,
oh, Tenpai didn't play floodgates.
Well, a lot of people played floodgates in Tenpai. It was like very common. Think of like Heatwave, where if you were just forced to go first, or you could like blind yourself to going first, you would sometimes just Heatwave your opponent, neither player could summon, and then like on the follow-up turn you just hit the gritty, normal summon Chandra, battle phase. Those aids. You also had Kokumu Drago, which was summonable off of like Chromatic Seals. You could summon that versus like Yubel, and that deck literally had 0 outs to it. Like, I'm pretty sure until Yubel started like playing Fiendsmith cards, I'm pretty sure outside of like normal summon Lacrima or like normal summon Lurie, this deck literally had 0 outs to Drago, which is so funny to think about. Like,
ooh, I'm going to normal summon my fucking Lacrima. Please do not go Chandra effect.
So stupid. Additionally, Sankin Summoning and Transcendent Dragon, they're just floodgates. I don't care who says otherwise. Making your opponent unable to interact with your own plays is basically just a floodgate, just in the opposite direction. It's like the Gimmick Puppet Field spell. It's like, yeah, you're technically not stopping me from playing, but you're just like preventing me from doing anything. It might as well just say like, ooh, your opponent cannot activate hand traps. Do you know what I mean? Funnily enough, also the existence of this deck kind of encouraged people to play more floodgates, because people just started playing like Threatening Roar as like a thrust target, or D Barrier as like in general. It was like, fuck it, it's good enough versus Tenpai. It's called synchro and maybe that deck dies. It was just like a very silly scenario overall. People also like to say that Tenpai was budget. Wrong. This deck was so weirdly expensive. I remember when I would see like Deckless Prices for Tenpai and I was like, why is this like $600? Like the Tenpai core is like 2 Chipotle burritos at most. And then when you actually looked at the prices of these individual cards like Fuolos or Perulia or like Triple Tactics Thrust and Talents before the reprint or stuff like Dominus Impulse. These were cards that cost so much goddamn money. Like Fuolos was around like 150, 160 at its peak. Perulia was around 80 to 100 at its peak. Impulse was like 75 to 80 at its peak. It was disgusting. Also, even on release, before like Perulia and Fuolos existed, Trident Dragion did not have a reprint, and the only version was like a Megatin from like 10 years ago. The original printing and an ultimate rare, which would tell you like everything you need to know about why this card was so fucking expensive. Me adding the funny Maxi to a core that costs less than socks. So real. Shout out to Uniqlo, I guess. Those socks are pretty cheap. And finally, we kind of have the idea where like Tenpai is a friendly deck to learn. Now, is this a good way to just like kind of hand to someone who is familiar with like the idea or rules of Yu-Gi-Oh and just be like, all right, here's a deck, just like activate the cards and like just have a good time and you'll maybe go like 2-2 at locals? Yes. Absolutely. Is it also what I would call a crutch deck? Absolutely. Crutch decks are basically decks that are so brainless and easy that you could just activate the cards with no real thought, and just because the card quality or just because the style of gameplay that the cards have is so just like ignorant that like occasionally you're just able to like scam wins versus better players. You know what I mean? Think of like Stun or like Eldritch or whatever. If you just like activated every single like card in a stun deck at like a generally pretty good time, like you're able to probably go like 2-2 at low. One of those wins are going to be versus a player that's better than. If you were like an okay, like mediocre player and you take like Tenpai to an event, there is like a 1 in 10 chance that you are able to just scam your way into like top cut. You know what I mean? Crutch deck equals brain deck. Basically, yeah. It's because like these decks are so easy and like ignorant in like what they're supposed to do. It's just like, what can you do? Me dropping Mystic Mine and winning. Shoutouts to Mystic Mine, which also got me another regional invite. That poor Salome, great player, man. I remember at a regional at like the last round, like if I won that round, I got my invite. I think I actually already had my invite, but anyways, he lost the dice roll, and it was like, oh, and like I activated Mystic Mine Field Barrier, and he just picked up his cards, signed the slip, and went home, and I'm like, bro, this poor child. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's one way to get a top. But yeah, Tenpai is so linear and rewarding at what it does that it's just like one thing sticks. And like again, Chandra Battle Phase, no response is full OTK. Normal Summon Pydra, no response is full OTK. Normal Summon Genroku is full OTK. Normal Summon Fadro, something engraved, is full OTK. Activate Field Spell if 1 card in hand is OTK. It can lead to games where it just feels like the better player can occasionally just lose out of nowhere. Like think about like playing Labyrinth versus like Tenpai, and you're like, all right, I'm playing a deck that's super duper tricked out to beat it. You don't open Lord, you don't open Solemn, and you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna like set 4 Norman Ariana. Oh, that I got impermed. Okay, I guess I'll set 4 pass. And then your opponent goes like Lightning Storm, and then you're like, okay, that's pretty bad, but I still have like, you know, big welcome engrave or something to like bounce the Ariana, like maybe I can get some triggers. And then your opponent goes like activate Sangan Summoning, and you're like, ah yes, well we tried. Or like think about it, Mastral, just like playing Labyrinth and then you get red rebooted and you're just like, oh yes, I tried. Players that are looking to learn and improve at Yu-Gi-Oh, like the game itself, you can really stunt your own growth. You could really kind of hurt yourself as a developing learning player if you kind of like just permanently lean on crutch decks like Tenpai, like Mystic Mine, like Stun or whatever, or just like very autopilot whack-a-mole decks. Again, like these decks are designed to kind of be like baby's first like Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Whether or not that's healthy or not is up to interpretation, but I don't think it is in the most part. So overall, let's give our little closing thoughts here. Like the deck isn't unique because it's not like a cool blind second OTK deck that's only existed now. Grand Magi's existed. The deck promotes unhealthy gameplay and floodgates and zero interactability. It's expensive both in TCG and Master Duel. If you want to like, if you guys think I'm lying about this deck being expensive, let's look at a Tenpai deck real quick. Let's see. Ultra rare, ultra rare, ultra rare, ultra rare, ultra rare Geki, Stevie, ultra rare Storm. Oh my god, this card's a 2 now. That's crazy. Super rare, ultra rare Kaiman, ultra rare Black Rose, ultra rare Moonlight, ultimate Ruddy Rose, ultimate Transcend Dragon, ultimate rare Seals, ultimate SP Prometheus. Like, oh my god, you have to take a second fucking mortgage just to play this deck. And again, this deck served more as a scam deck rather than an actual play experience. So, all in all, fuck Tenpai. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe or else I'll blow up Malaysia. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. See you in the next one.